So today we are going to be doing an introduction to essential oils. Now this is a little bit similar to the classes that I do in person. Obviously a little bit different because I'm not able to open the bottles and for you to actually smell the essential oils or try them. But hopefully gives you a really good overview and empowers you with some knowledge so you can take that away and decide what essential oils might be helpful for you to use in your own health. So I'm going to be talking about essential oils that are made by a company called doTERRA, which I absolutely love. I absolutely love working with because the oils are very high quality. They're 100% pure essential oil, which is quite different to a lot of the essential oils that you can buy from the chemist or the warehouse or even the $2 shop. So because of that, the therapeutic constituents are really high, so we can use them in quite a medicinal way, and we can use them in a few ways for our physical health, for our emotional health, but also for our environmental health in terms of our community, global community. The way that they're produced is in a really sustainable way. So doTERRA, they produce over 100 different essential oils. Far too much for us to cover today, and probably overwhelming. I seem to slowly be growing my collection towards that 100 number, although I'm not quite there yet. So what we're going to cover today is just the top 10 oils which make up part of doTERRA's, what they call their Home Essentials kit. And essentially, it's their most versatile and popular oils that you can mix and match and address almost any health concern, whether that be physical or emotional, with these 10 oils. So it's a really good place for you to start and start dabbling in essential oils and natural solutions. And then from there, you can add to your collection if you choose to, which if you're anything like me, I'm sure you will, because they're so amazing. They smell great, but they also have these incredible therapeutic benefits, which are so good. So the 10 that we're going to start with today, there's a mix. Some of them are single oils, so we're going to be talking about peppermint and lavender, and some are blends. So you're going to hear words like Digestion Xin and OnGuard. These are specific bespoke blends that doTERRA has put together to deal with specific health concerns. So we'll cover both sections today. And with these oils, with doTERRA in particular, you can buy these oils retail, just at a store. You might see them at your local chiropractor or massage therapist, or even at a chemist. They could be stocked. But the whole idea with coming to one of my workshops, and so this is essentially one of my workshops, a little bit different, is that you get the opportunity to set up a wholesale account, which is way better because who wants to pay retail if you can pay wholesale? So wholesale means that you get 25% off retail pricing, and that's how I buy them, is using I've got my own wholesale account set up. So that's pretty awesome that you've got the opportunity to access that after you've been to a workshop, which you have been today if you're here listening. So the first oil I'm going to talk about today is one of our singles, and it is called Peppermint. So you can see it there. And peppermint's one of my favorite oils. It's super, super versatile, and it's got heaps of uses. Any ideas what peppermint might be used for? If you guys have got any ideas what peppermint might be good for, shout them out, leave a comment in the comments, and I'll cover through my favorite ideas while you're doing that. So peppermint is a really strong oil, particularly this particular brand, and it's very cooling, so it can be used for headaches. It's an amazing headache relief oil, and the way I like to use that is by putting it in a rollable. So once you get your oil collection, what I recommend is getting some empty rollables like this. You can get them from my website, or you can get them elsewhere. They're pretty cost effective. They're a couple of dollars each. And what you do is, oh, Carl, making things smell good. That's true. Yeah, good for bad breath. So what you can do is, once you've got your oil, so this is like your concentrate, then you can make yourself up some rollables, to put some labels on the top so you remember what they are. There you can see there's my peppermint. Oh my golly. Here we go. And I normally do, in terms of dilution ratios, I normally go with around about 20 drops. So that's going to fill about 1/5 of your oil bottle, and then the rest with fractionated coconut oil. And fractionated coconut oil is just a carrier oil. You can also use things like sweet almond oil, macadamia nut oil, jojoba oil, but fractionated coconut oil I really like. That's the one that I use. And fractionated, so people often ask, well, what does fractionated mean? It means that basically one of the double bonds in the molecular structure of the coconut oil, of the fatty acid, has been removed so that this is now liquid at room temperature. So you can see here, you can even hear, it's liquid at room temperature. It's also not greasy, it doesn't have a smell, so it's not like the coconut oil that we cook with and eat, and it makes it a really good carrier oil for your essential oils. It means that the smell and therapeutics of the essential oil shines through, but the benefit of us diluting it in a way like this is for a few reasons. One, it makes our concentrates go further. Secondly, it makes it easy to apply. So when you've got a little roller ball like this, that's our peppermint roller, and we've got a headache, we can literally rub this around the temples like that, and I'm doing it right now and it actually smells divine. I go pretty close to the eyes because this is where my headaches often are, but just be careful, you obviously don't want peppermint in your eye. And then you can even go around the back of your neck like this, applying like this so, and then rub it in to wherever the headache is kind of emanating from. Often it's coming from in the shoulders and in through the neck, but massage it into the back of the head and really onto where that headache is coming from. So by mixing our peppermint oil or any of our oils with our coconut oil, A, we're making them go further, B, they're easy to apply, C, it actually enhances the absorption. So these oils, they're called essential oils, but they're so strong they evaporate pretty quickly. So if we were to put a neat or pure peppermint oil, undiluted, on ourselves, we could do that and rub it in and it would still have good effect. But this, adding it to a carrier oil, actually helps it to absorb into the skin so that we get those therapeutic benefits before it all evaporates off. The other reason that you would mix it with a carrier oil and dilute it is really good for sensitive skin. If you have sensitive skin, if you're using it on kids in particular, and then also if you're using it on parents or elderly, then diluting is really great. So peppermint, headaches. The other thing that peppermint is really good for is focus. It's really great to help you wake up in the morning. So again, if you're having to wake up at 6 a.m., you could use your rollerball. Literally, I get up, if I have to get up at 6, I'm rolling it all over my face. It doesn't matter what you look like at that time of the hour, at that time of the day, rubbing it in, and it really helps to invigorate you and get you going for the day. Also, if you are going on a long drive and wanting to stay awake, instead of reaching for that third coffee, then peppermint oil is really great. So again, you could have your little rollerball in the car and just give yourself a good roll around the temples, the forehead, and into the neck, and even on your wrists, and do a big inhale to keep you focused. Doreen, how many drops of essential to carrier? So my standard dilution ratio that I use for most oils for an adult is 20 drops. So you're going to put 20 drops into your 10 ml up to around 1/5 of the bottle, and then the rest you fill up with coconut oil or a carrier oil. I sometimes go stronger. There's a muscular blend that we're going to talk about, and I like doing that 40 drops to carrier oil because it's you putting it in your muscles and so that you really feel effect. If you're making them for children, like young children under the age of 3, or for the elderly, you might like to go less. So you might like to go 10 drops to carrier oil, and remember this is 10 mils. Other uses for peppermint, really good for bad breath. So you can make your own, once you've got your oil, you can make your own really cheap, really natural mouthwash. So no more of the Listerine stuff, which is full of chemicals that disrupt your endocrine system and is also expensive, and using a ton of plastic. But I like to reuse a lot of my old bottles. So if you've got old bottles lying around, kind of glass bottles, here's a couple here. That was a massage oil I think I had. Some of these, this one, you can actually get this from my website if you want a spray bottle. But if you've got old glass bottles, particularly if it's this nice amber glass, I totally recommend keeping it and using it to make up some of your own blends. But basically you can fill this up with water, add a couple of drops of peppermint essential oil. You might also like to add a drop of lemon, or there's another oil called OnGuard we're going to talk about, and shake that up, and that is literally your mouthwash. Super refreshing, costs you 3 cents to make, and completely natural. So nice replacement for your Listerine. Really good for digestion, to soothe this tummy ache, again with your roller, rubbing it on your abdomen, and also on the soles of your feet to improve digestion. It's also really good for nausea, good for studying, and also if you're working, again, because it's got that focus component, and delicious in chocolate. So I shared a video a couple of weeks ago, which you might have seen. It was some chocolate peppermint buttons or drops. It's not even a recipe. They're so easy to make. I was wondering whether, should I make a video of this? They're too easy, but they're so delicious. It's literally just get you the best quality dark chocolate you can find. You can make your own if you want to, but otherwise, really good quality dairy-free dark chocolate. The Whittaker's Dark Ghana from the supermarket is probably my favorite supermarket brand. It's also fair trade, which is great. It has very low sugar, very high cacao content, and no dairy. So it's a really good one to get from the supermarket. Melting that down, adding some peppermint oil, and you have the most amazing peppermint chocolate that just, you'll never buy store-bought peppermint chocolate again, because the power of the peppermint in this essential oil. And just so you get a sense for how strong these oils are, they are 50 to 70 times stronger than the actual herb or plant themselves. So if we were to take peppermint leaves, this is 50 to 70 times more powerful. A single drop of this peppermint oil is worth the equivalent of 28 cups of peppermint tea. So that's how much of the leaf is actually being distilled down to create 1 drop of peppermint oil. So really says 2 things to me, that we're so lucky to have these, that we can have these super, super concentrated medicinal herbs that you can use in your own home, but also that they are very strong, and so you want to be careful with how you're using them, particularly when you're using them internally. It's really important to make sure that you've got good advice around that. In terms of internal consumption, you probably will read, if you ask Mr. Google, you'll see a whole lot of stuff around essential oils and internal consumption, and no, you shouldn't, or yes, you should, it's dangerous, this, that, and the other thing. The 2 key things to consider with internal consumption of essential oils are that if you are putting these internally, you want to make sure that you are using the highest quality, 100% pure essential oil. So these oils from doTERRA, the ones that I've got here, are 100% essential oil, nothing else. They're completely organic, wildcrafted, no pesticides, synthetics, chemicals, and these are the only things that I would put inside my body and recommend for you to put inside your body. Other oils that you can get from the chemist, they can say pure essential oil on the label. That might only contain between 14 and 18% pure essential oil. The rest of it can be a carrier oil, it can be synthetic fragrance, and it normally is. So it might be canola oil, processed canola oil that's had the smell taken out, and synthetic peppermint fragrance. So if you're taking that internally, that's really dangerous. The other part about internal consumption is these are so strong. So, remember, 1 drop of peppermint, 28 cups of peppermint tea. So if you suddenly take 10 drops of peppermint oil internally, that's 280 cups of peppermint tea. Now, could that have spasmodic effects on the uterus and potentially cause a miscarriage? Possibly, when it's in that massive quantity. So, being sensitive about if you're taking it internally, what oil are you taking? Make sure it's only the highest quality. And to be honest, these are the only ones I would use because I know that they're 100% pure essential oil. And B, just being sensitive about how much you're taking. If you're pregnant and you're in the 1st and 2nd trimester of your pregnancy, please contact me and ask me, because that's a time when we really don't want to be having uterine spasms, because they can cause miscarriage. And just because you guys are on the call and you're my special ladies, I have a little announcement to share, which I haven't shared yet. So I have a little lunch brewing, which I really need to announce at some stage, but I just haven't gone around to it. So 25 weeks little lunch brewing. So I had some, I guess I'm having a personal experience in terms of essential oils and how you can use them. So that's it on peppermint, and we'll move on to the next one. This next one I'm going to talk about is the first of 4 which are much more medicinal in nature. So this one is called Digestion Xin. So as you would expect, it's pretty much everything to do with digestion. If you have indigestion, you get bloated, you have IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, you have Crohn's or celiac disease, constipation, diarrhea, nausea, so that might be travel sickness or like morning sickness, then Digestion is an amazing blend of oils. So if I could give you a smell of this, I would. Here you go. But basically, if you smell this, what you're going to smell is a whole range of herbs that you would traditionally expect to see in a really good naturopathic. Woohoo, Alexis, thank you. I'm not sure if you're woohooing about my announcement or the Digestion, but either way, I'm happy. So yeah, all the types of herbs that you would normally see in a really good naturopathic tea. So we've got things like anise, peppermint, ginger, fennel, caraway, coriander, tarragon. Really, really good herbs for digestive harmony. So the way to use this Digestion is to, if you're experiencing any of those symptoms, and it might be that you're experiencing them, just after a big meal, or, you had seconds of dessert and you really shouldn't have, that is often me. Then what I would do is, again, pop it in a rollable, and you know what, I can't see mine because it is always in my handbag, this guy. This is my cute little bag that one of the ladies that came to my workshops, and now she's loving her essential oils. She made this for me. How cute is that? Yeah, it's in my favorite colors too, neutral and pink. Anyway, that's got a bunch of my own rollables that I've made in it. So this is what I carry in my handbag. So here is my Digestion that I've made up. Again, 20 drops of the oil to the carrier oil. And when you've got that indigestion or bloated feeling, rubbing it on your stomach like so. So you're going to be rubbing it in a clockwise fashion and then massaging it in a clockwise fashion, because remember, this is the way that our gastrointestinal tract runs before it goes down the bottom. So doing that, and then also rubbing it on the soles of your feet, which might sound odd because why would you put this on the soles of your feet? But the nerve endings in our body actually end in our feet. And so it's a really great area. It's very absorptive, and it's a really great area to basically access the superhighway of the body. So we can put essential oils onto our feet. And remember, we've got a carrier oil in there, so it's going to help it to absorb. And that will absorb into the body and affect our internal cells. And remember, everything we put on our skin, we're absorbing around 80% of that. But around 80% is going to go into our bloodstream. So we can use our feet in that way. Feet are also really great for kids. So if you've got kids and you want to be using essential oils, then rubbing things on their feet, even on infants, is a really good way to not have them having any sensitivity reactions. So Digestion, the other way you can use it is by putting a drop in a glass of water. So you could take a glass of water like this, put a drop in, and drink that after a meal if you're feeling really bloated or you've got indigestion. This is probably one of the ones that I've had the most testimonials about, particularly people who have got ongoing gut issues. I recommend using this morning and night. So morning and night, when you first wake up after your shower, and at night before you go to bed, using a rollable, putting it on the abdomen and the soles of your feet before you go to work in the morning to really re-encourage digestive harmony. And the way that herbs work in general is not one way or the other. So unlike conventional medicine, where if you've got constipation, for example, you might take a certain medication to loosen you up. Or if you've got diarrhea, you might have another medication to firm things up. The way that herbs actually work is in a modulating fashion. So regardless of where you are, they're going to bring you back into homeostasis. So bring you back into the middle of that bell curve, which is great because over time you can actually reduce down the medical kit that you've got at home, the medicine drawer, to actually only be using a very few number of products. So in this instance, you're using only one product, Digestion, for everything to do with digestion. Okie dokie. Next, we are going on to our next blend, and this is another one of my favorites. It's called OnGuard. OnGuard. They call it their protective blend. I like to think of this as the immune boosting blend. So if you have any immune concerns, if you get sick often during winter, colds and flus, that type of thing, if you've got kids that get sick or a partner that gets sick or parents type thing, then OnGuard is going to be your best friend. But also if you've got an autoimmune condition. So many of you know that I used to have Graves' disease. I don't anymore, thankfully. I still have antibodies sitting there, which means it could rear its head at some stage, but I don't think it will. But any sort of autoimmune condition like Graves' disease, Hashimoto's, Crohn's, lupus, celiac, psoriasis, hay fever, asthma, all of these conditions are indicating that the immune system is not quite in homeostasis. It's either underactive or it's overreactive. And so using something like this, OnGuard, daily, will help to bring your immune system back into modulating it and bring it back into sort of a central harmony, so it's not under or overreactive. And this blend has got a bunch of oils in it. It smells and tastes kind of like Christmas cake. So if you were to smell this, you'd be smelling, oh, it's so good, smelling scents of cinnamon, clove, wild orange, rosemary. I think it's got a dash of eucalyptus, yes, in there. And it it smells like Christmas. The way to use this particular one, if you've got any of those concerns I was mentioning, is to take a drop in water each day. So in the morning, I just put a drop in water and be drinking that. You can also put a drop in a hot chocolate or a turmeric latte. I had one yesterday and it was gorgeous because it really combines with those flavors. You can also put it into a chai latte or even a regular latte. And it's really nice and warming, especially coming into these cooler months. If you've got kids, what you can do is instead put it in a rollerball. So you can, you know what, I don't have my rollerball because it's in Mila's room, but essentially same thing, into your rollerball. And then for your kids, before they go to school or preschool, rubbing it on the soles of their feet, rubbing it in, rubbing it around their lymph nodes and rubbing it in before they go to school or preschool to prevent them from getting sick. And that is, an amazing, amazing preventative measure for kids at school where there's just flus and colds rife. doTERRA actually loves this blend so much that they go and put it in a whole bunch of household items that they make as well, which are infused with essential oils. So they've got a hand cleaner, washing liquid, and then also a toothpaste actually, which I love this toothpaste. This is now our family toothpaste, or OnGuard natural whitening toothpaste. It's a completely natural toothpaste, not tested on animals, no fluoride, and it is infused with the OnGuard essential oil, as well as the peppermint. And so the benefits you're going to get is the clove and the cinnamon in the OnGuard are going to help with bacteria formation. So you might have heard sort of old wives' grandmas talking about putting clove oil on a toothache. So that's exactly what's happening with the OnGuard and the toothpaste. So really good to prevent plaque, and then the peppermint's obviously very freshening for the breath. So that is a delicious toothpaste. That's now our family favorite. And Pamela, my immune system, cooled off my thyroid and my levothyroxine. Yeah, absolutely. So you're taking thyroxine every day to reestablish, a thyroid action, but underlying that condition was the fact that the immune system wasn't operating appropriately. So I definitely would be recommending the OnGuard daily for you. And there's a few others as well. Frankincense in particular, it's really anti-inflammatory. But yeah, OnGuard. What was I going to say? Oh, very high on the ORAC scale as well. And I've talked about this on the blog before, but spices like the clove and our cinnamon in here are the absolute highest antioxidant foods in the world. Way higher than blueberries, way higher than raw cacao. They're off the charts. Obviously, you can't eat a whole cup of cinnamon, but it's a really good idea to include them in your food. And also, that's why we have them in these oils, really high in antioxidants, which is what helps with those immune boosting benefits. Also really good in chocolate. So you know how I was talking about the chocolate drops with peppermint? Try those chocolate drops with the OnGuard. It kind of gives it like a warmy, Christmassy flavour with that cinnamon and clove coming through. Really nice as we come into these winter months. If anyone's watching from the US, you'll think I'm crazy because you're coming into summer, but watch this again in 6 months' time and you'll be with me. So OnGuard. Next up, we are going to be talking about oregano. Now, this is a super, super hot oil. It's not one that we hear about much down in New Zealand, or Australia for that matter, but it is super popular in the US. If we have a smell of that. All right, so back to our oregano. Very, very hot oil. Careful with this one. It will actually burn warts. So I'm smelling this now. So strong. An acquired smell, to be honest. I mean, it's not sweet at all. Very, very strong. If you've got warts, you've got kids that got warts or neighbors that have got warts. What you can do with this one is put a little bit of an emollient around the wart, so, like a lip balm or a Vaseline type thing. Put a drop of oregano in the middle and then put a plaster over the top, and literally the wart will fall off in 5-6 days. It is incredible. Clearly, we don't want to be bathing our body in this as a result because it's very, very hot. But this is basically the oil that you want to use when you get sick. So the OnGuard is our daily immune boosting protective blend. Now, when you actually get sick, because you haven't been taking your OnGuard, that's when you want to bring out the oregano. So flus, colds, ear infections, obviously I said warts as well. Again, you want to make it up into your rollerball, 20 drops to coconut oil. If it's on with kids, I'd go slightly lower, so 10 drops, and then rolling that on the soles of your feet and into your lymph nodes. You can also make a really nice blend, like an acute immunity blend for winter, where you do 10 drops of your oregano and 10 drops of your OnGuard into the rollerball, coconut oil, lymph nodes when you're sick, and then soles of feet. Also, when you kind of get that tickly feeling in your throat, you kind of wake up and you go, oh no, I've got a cold. Or it's coming, it's on its way. That's when you want to hit it, because that's when the bacteria is starting to form and the virus is starting to sort of take hold. That's when you want to hit it. So making up a little blend in one of your little spray bottles, reused, or you can get these from my website. But honestly, reuse your bottles if you can. Reuse your glass bottles, keep them. You can actually use we're going to talk about lemon and tea tree. You can use both lemon and tea tree oil to get off those plastic sticky labels. It's really hard to get them off. They're amazing to get labels off and they look good as new. Anyway, we can make a throat spray. So water, a couple of drops of OnGuard, 1 drop of oregano, and literally when you feel that tickly throat, taking that and going, spraying it. It's not going to be an enjoyable experience, but that will really help to kill off any viruses and bacteria before they take hold. Now, if you don't get sick very often because you're following all my advice and you're never sick, then you're awesome. In which case, you can use oregano in cooking. So with all these oils, because they're completely pure, 100%, and they're really high quality, we don't actually want to burn them in oil burners. So, I know we all had an oil burner in the 80s or 90s, maybe even 70s. I certainly did in the 80s and 90s. And we'd put the oil in the top and burn it from the bottom. What that's actually doing is actually burning off all the therapeutic constituents. So we still get the nice smell, but we're not actually getting any of the health benefits. So if you're getting really high quality oils like these ones, then I recommend instead using a cold ionic diffuser. So if you get these 10 oils in the Home Essential Kit, it comes with this diffuser here. It's that one there. And basically a cold ionic diffuser uses vibration, momentum, to move the hydrogen and oxygen particles apart with momentum, and then that releases the essential oil. So you can see I've got this one going at the moment. Let's see if I can show you. This guy's going, he's live. Can you hear him? So soothing. So we've got a little bit of momentum happening, and then that's releasing off the oil. But it's completely cold, so there's no heat involved. So we're maintaining all the therapeutic benefits of the oils, and also really safe. So, you're not going to hit this over and burn the house down or have pets or kids knocking over oil burners with flames. So with your oregano, if you're using it in cooking, and with any of the oils, if you're putting them into cooking, we don't really want to heat them. If possible, you want to add them at the end of your cooking. So if you're making like a bolognese, like a really nice lentil bolognese, a stew, a soup, then you can pop a few drops of oregano at the end. I personally love making popcorn and then drizzling over, like I did a recipe on the blog a few weeks back, a salt and vinegar popcorn, same sort of deal, but at the end drizzling over a little bit of olive oil with a few drops of oregano in to give it a really yummy flavor, and it's a nice savory snack, so you're not always snacking on sweet stuff. Oregano, I'm also loving doing a tray of roast veggies, and at the end, again, having some olive oil, putting a few drops of the oregano in the olive oil, and then drizzling that over at the end, giving it a really good shake, and you've got this beautiful infusion. And I wouldn't say that these replace fresh herbs. I still use fresh herbs, but these are, remember I said, 50 to 70 times stronger than the fresh herb. So I still add this, and it's like adding a stock cube to your soup, instead of adding water to your soup. It really amps up the flavor, gives a lot more depth of flavor. So I'd still use your fresh herbs, but then add essential oil as well to get that really next level of flavor, particularly if you're doing lots of plant-based cooking. We really want to add lots of flavor to our veggies to make them taste good. That is our oregano. So next one I'm going to talk about is another of the medicinal 4 that I was mentioning. So we've done Digestion, OnGuard, oregano, and this is the last one, tea tree. And I'm sure you guys have all heard of tea tree before. Any guesses? Oh, I'm upside down. Any ideas as to what tea tree might be good for? Melaleuca. Shout them out. If you've got any ideas what tea tree can be good for, then shout them out. I'd love to hear it, where your guys' level of knowledge is at. I certainly know before I started studying herbal medicine, my level of knowledge around herbs was pretty much 0. So don't be embarrassed. But basically, tea tree is our antifungal oil. Monique, Atia Muri, oh beautiful. So to give some sickness prevention tips as well as healing tips once the nasty bug has already struck. Absolutely. So we want to prevent it where possible, right? So eating good food, but using that OnGuard preventative blend, but then if it hits, cranking out the oregano. So tea tree, back to our tea tree. Antibacterial, yes, Hayley, on it. So really good antibacterial and also antifungal. So we can use this for acne. We can use it for bacterial infections, chicken pox, cold sores, earaches, any sort of fungal infections, so candida, jock itch, which no one talks about, but I'm sure the guys actually experience this. Athlete's foot, head lice. So I didn't even realize head lice is still a thing, but apparently as soon as you have a child who's over 5 years old, then head lice are very much still in existence, and not just in your children's hair, in your hair as well. And I hear that they really like clean blonde hair, so I'm in for some trouble. What else it can be used for? So we said head lice, psoriasis, also insect bites. Insect bites, itchy bites, sores, sunburns. So we can use it neat for any of those things. You would just take off the lid, literally like this. If you've got pimples, putting it on the pimple, particularly at night before you go to sleep, putting it on the pimple neat. You could do the same for any sort of fungal infection. Combats bad breath. Pamela, really? Okay, I've never tried that, but it is quite strong. I, though, have put this into a rollerball. So as you'll see, I've got another rollerball called tea tree here. And then I'd be rolling that on the area. So where you've got athlete's foot, I'd be rolling that on the area and massaging it in twice daily. Same for acne. If you've got, if you just have quite bad acne or bad skin, or you've got teenagers that have got bad skin, I'd make them up a skin blend with, depending on how bad the acne is, I'd probably go 10 drops of lavender, 5 drops of frankincense, or 6 drops of frankincense, and maybe 2 to 4 drops of tea tree. The rest with your carrier oil, and then them using that morning, night as their skin oil. And I've got a couple of clients actually who've got teenage boys and girls who are using a similar sort of skin blend to that and having really good results. And I'll talk about lavender and frankincense later as well. If it's back to our psoriasis, then rubbing it on the psoriasis area and rubbing it in. Psoriasis often appears around the hairline here into the back of the back of the scalp, and then often on the sort of the elbows here and on the knees. So just rubbing that in and massaging it in again morning and night. For the lice, what I would do is you could either make a spray for the kids, so with water and the tea tree oil and spray it in, daily, or you could make up a coconut oil and tea tree oil blend, spray it in at night, comb it through, so it's like a moisturizing treatment. Comb it through, if it's a girl, tie their hair up in a bun, make sure you put something down on the bed and let them sleep with that in, and then comb it through and get them to wash their hair the next day. I'd also would add 10 to 20 drops of the strong oil to your shampoo and conditioner to keep lice at bay if you've got kids that get lice. Do you know, I was listening to a podcast this morning about some of the areas where we get the oils from. They're from 46 different countries, and most of them are developing countries. And this was in one of the countries in Africa where we get the oils from, with doTERRA. And all the young girls have to shave their head because the head lice is so bad. They all have shaved heads because they just can't keep the problem at bay because it's they're living in such crowded conditions. So yeah, very sad to hear things like that. But I'll talk more about the philanthropic side of doTERRA shortly. So that's our tea tree, and next we're talking about lavender. So the question comes up: why would you choose this particular brand of oils? So doTERRA oils over another brand. I've talked already about purity. So these are 100% pure essential oils, no carriers, no fillers at all. And lots of other oil companies will just grow their oils wherever. They'll open up a field, grow the plants, and then extract the oils. Now, the problem with that is the therapeutic constituents are going to be much, much lower than if you source these oils, same as with all plants, from where they naturally grow, where they're naturally wildcrafted. So doTERRA go to where the plant grows best, where the therapeutic constituents are the highest. So our beautiful lavender here comes from Bulgaria, is grown in Bulgaria. The tea tree that we were talking about comes from Australia. The oregano comes from Turkey. The peppermint we talked about comes from Washington State. And frankincense that we're going to talk about shortly comes from Somalia. And the wintergreen comes from Nepal. So all over the world, where those plants grow best, or when they grow naturally. And what that means is the plant actually has to fight off the environmental threats in their environment, and as a result, they develop a really strong immune system. Well, the essential oil is basically the immune system of the plant. So when we extract that, it's much, much more powerful than a plant that never had to fight for its life. It was just grown in a sweet field in the middle of Utah, sprayed every day, and it never had to fight against bugs and bees. It's the same as when you're talking about conventional versus organic food. Like a conventional orange has been sprayed and grown in a big paddock, and so it grows really, really big because it doesn't have to fight off any environmental threats, so it just uses all of its energy to grow really big, and that's the ones we see in the supermarket, versus an organic orange, which might grow on your dad's farm type thing. My dad lives in Te Kuiti and he's got lots of oranges on his orange tree. But anyway, they have to fight against the environmental threats. So as a result, they don't grow big. They stay small. They have to keep their energy contained, but they are absolutely delicious. They are so flavor-packed, and they're very, very high in vitamin C compared to a conventional orange. So same thing with these oils. These oils, because they come from their natural location, they are much, much higher in therapeutic constituents, and so much more powerful in terms of health benefits. In terms of our lavender itself, I'm sure you've all had an experience with lavender, but I do want you to cast your mind back to an experience you may have had with lavender. I'm thinking personally those little sachets that were in my grandma's cupboard, and they didn't smell that nice. They kind of smelled musty. This lavender, in contrast, I didn't think I would love this, but I absolutely love this lavender. It's super beautiful, really sweet and smooth. It's, I would use this as a perfume, and I never thought I would use lavender as a perfume. Lavender is very soothing, both internally and externally, and that's the same with all of our essential oils, is that as they work on the skin, so they work internally. It's generally the case. So our lavender we can put on, it's a very beautifying and soothing oil for the skin. That's why we use it in our skincare blend that I was talking about alongside our tea tree. It's also very good for psoriasis along with tea tree. great for cuts, scrapes and burns, sunburn, very soothing to sunburn, and just a general beauty oil for the skin, soothing for any sort of skin conditions like eczema and psoriasis. It's also calming internally. So you can use this as basically like a nervine tonic. Now, I generally don't take this one internally, but diffusing this and smelling it aromatically, very calming to the nervous system. So great for stress, anxiety, depression, and sleep. This is an oil for all those conditions. Very, very calming oil. Lavandula angustifolia is our Latin name. The next oil that I'm going to talk about is two in particular, actually three. Easy Air, Ice Blue, and Lemon. And these three oils are going to show us the three different ways that we can use essential oils. Basically, we can use them aromatically, so in through the olfactory system, so rubbing them on our hands, breathing them, applying them, and breathing them in, or using our trusty diffuser and getting them in aromatically that way. We can also use them topically, and remember we're absorbing 80% of that, of what we put on our skin into our bloodstream. And these oils will work quick. Once you put them on your skin, they are in your bloodstream within 2 minutes, and they are around all the cells in your body within 20. So very, very powerful action. So we can use them aromatically, topically, and then internally. That's our third way that we can use them. Before I get onto that though, just a little bit more about doTERRA's oils compared to other oils that you can get and why you would choose one over the other. So we already talked about the purity, and it's really all down to sourcing for doTERRA. So purity in terms of where they source them from, and that links into their effectiveness, much, much higher in therapeutic constituents. The second part of it is ethics. So doTERRA's oils are grown in over 46 different countries, and most of those countries are developing. And let me tell you, the treatment of the farmers in those developing countries by most other oil companies is pretty rotten. These people live in squalor, basically. Very, very poor conditions, are certainly not paid a fair wage. On very, very low wages, barely enough to survive. And that's the way it is for most other essential oils that you purchase that are grown, that are lucky enough to be grown in those countries. So instead of that, doTERRA, what they do is, their ethics is such a part of their core, which is a reason that I absolutely love working with them. And what they started doing is they could see that in these countries that the way that it was done previously is that all of the growers would have to go to an oil broker, a middleman. They'd get bartered down completely to the absolute lowest price, and then an oil broker, who's one of the rich people in society, would take the majority of the profits and then sell them to oil companies, and the oil companies kind of didn't care. So what doTERRA did very early on was to say, let's cross out this middleman, let's go straight to the farmers. So it's like a farm to table kind of concept, and actually get them all together in a room and say to them, hey, look, we actually don't want you guys to compete with each other. We want to buy from all of you. This is how much supply we want of lavender, for example. Can you all get together, and what would be a fair price that we could pay you? And in many instances, doTERRA is now paying some of these farmers up to 10 times what they were being paid before when they were selling to other essential oil companies. There's also a bunch of other amazing stories about what doTERRA is doing. So not only are they obviously trying to pay a fair price, a fair wage to these growers, but they actually go one step further and are working really intimately with these communities to help them source fresh water, for example. In Somalia, they have built, which is where we get the frankincense, they have built schools for boys and schools for girls. The local people said, oh, what can we do here to help your community? And they said, oh, we'd love you to build some schools for our boys. And doTERRA said, well, that's lovely, it's a great idea, and we'd love to, but we also really value education for women. So we want to build some schools for your girls as well. In Nepal, which is where we get the wintergreen for the ice blue, there is a really high suicide rate amongst young girls for the week of the month where they get their period. They are completely shunned from society. They're seen as dirty and unclean, and are sent to basically cow sheds. There's menstrual huts or cow sheds. They also use dry cow patties for pads. And as a result, the suicide rate is really high amongst young girls, 12, 13-year-old girls who just don't understand why they're being ostracized in this way. And so doTERRA in Nepal has done a whole education process around the woman's menstrual cycle, and the fact that this is just a beautiful, normal part of the human body, the female body, and it's not something to be ashamed of. And they've also donated a whole bunch of reusable pads for the locals there, and as a result, the suicide rate has dropped dramatically. There's another instance in around Central Asia where they're helping to rescue children from sex trafficking. So young children from sex trafficking and child pornography. If you're interested in that, you can look it up. It's called Operation Underground Railroad. So that's another big foundation organization that doTERRA is working with heavily. And if you buy one of their oils, it's not in this top 10 we're talking about, but it's called Hope. It's a beautiful scent. It's such a gorgeous perfume. This is $25, 100% of that. So all $25, not the profit, but the whole thing, doTERRA give to this Operation Underground Railroad to rescue children from sex trafficking. And I always get a little bit teary when I think about this because, I think if you're a mum, or even if you've got, if you're an auntie, you've got young kids in your life, then think about what it must be like for those kids who are in that situation. So, this is a really easy way that I can buy this perfume and smell beautiful, but know that I'm contributing to helping those children get out of those situations. So it's Hope. Yep. And I always get emotional when I think about that. Enough of that. Really ethical company, which is why I love them. And the last thing is on the purity of the oils. So there's no global organic certification for essential oils because they're coming from all these developing countries. So what doTERRA does instead is they have a testing process. It's done by a third-party company, and each of their oils, every single vat of oil, they will get this third-party company to do 11 different tests, testing for pesticides, synthetics, fillers, chemicals, even twigs. And if any of those tests come back positive, then they'll actually throw away that entire vat. They won't use it. They won't sell it to customers. But they will go and pay the farmers for that because often it's been one farmer of many, or it might not have even been the farmers themselves. It might have been somewhere else along the supply chain where the contamination has occurred. So they'll still go pay those farmers because in many cases that might have been their livelihood for an entire month or maybe an entire season. But then what they'll do is they'll go back along the supply chain and see, where did this contamination happen and how can we fix this? But essentially that's how they ensure that these are 100% organic and are completely pure, is by doing those tests. So you can actually see on the bottom of each of these oils, you'll be able to see, I don't know if you can be able to see that. There's a white number. You can kind of see there's a white number there in the middle, 172 something. You can go to a website called sourcetoyou.com, input that number, and you'll see the results of the tests of that exact vat of oil. And that's that third-party testing service that they use to ensure purity. So almost at the end of our 10 oils, I'm going to talk about these 3 that I mentioned now that show us how we can use our oils. So our first example is how we can use them aromatically, and this one is called Easy Air. It's their respiratory blend. This one's fantastic if you've got any concerns around with asthma, hay fever, respiratory illness like colds and flus, clogged up. Great for kids. Great for men and partners that snore. I don't know if we've still got any men on the call, but if you've got a partner who snores all the time, or just after he's been out drinking, often that clogs up the respiratory pathways. Or if he's been eating a lot of dairy products clog up the respiratory pathways, then using Easy Air can really help to open them up and help with breathing conditions. So you can use this aromatically You can, again, pop it in one of your roller balls. And if you've got any of those conditions, rub it on your chest, rub it on the top of the back, right up into the esophagus and the throat, and then breathe it in. And I've got some friends who have previously been on inhalers, Flixtide, etc., and they now use Easy Air when they're feeling like an asthma attack coming on. Also, you can use this one in your diffuser. So once you've got your diffuser like this, generally I kind of go for around 6 drops. So 6 drops of Easy Air plus a cup of water. And in this particular diffuser, you'll see it's got some settings. It can go for 1 hour, 2 hours, or 4 hours. So if you've got like a child that's got really bad respiratory illness or flu or a cold, clogged up, can't breathe, I'd be putting it on that longer setting, the 4-hour setting, and diffusing it by their bedside overnight so they can breathe in aromatically the ingredients in the Easy Air to help them breathe. You can also use Easy Air in an emotional way as well to help you open up your emotions. And so it's got ingredients, I'll read the ingredients out for you: laurel leaf, eucalyptus, peppermint, tea tree, lemon, cardamom, ravensara, and ravensara. It's our Easy Air. Next one is Ice Blue. This is our athletic blend. It's kind of the gateway blend for the men in our lives. If you give them a rub with this one, they will love you forever. Or maybe they can give you a rub with this one. Yeah, that would feel good. So this one, again, diluting it into a rollable. You can also, they do it in a rub because people love it so much. And rubbing that into any muscles, so sore muscles, sore neck, shoulders, soles of the feet, or if you get any sort of pain, so knee pain, any joint pain, knee pain, hip pain, lower back pain, if you've got parents or grandparents who have joint pain and back pain, then using Ice Blue, diluted, it's a really strong oil, diluted in a roller ball, rubbing it where the pain is, or again, down the track, you could look at getting the rub. I've got this one for my dad, and got 2 grandparents still in the family. It's just because it's easy for them, but you can just use the oil diluted in that way. And had a question for Kim: will this help with sinus? The Easy Air, absolutely, 100%. So any sort of sinus conditions, Easy Air in a roller ball, as I was saying, here and here, or in your diffuser, or both. I would do that both. And then our last one, where we're talking about how we can use oils: aromatic, topical, and internally. And I've talked about already the issues around internal consumption and when you want to be careful and how you want to do it. So just be sensitive with what quantities that you're using, and make sure you are not ingesting the oil that you bought from the chemist, or, God forbid, the $2 shop. Do not ingest that. It will be dangerous. Because it's filled with fillers and synthetics, and then you're ingesting it into your body. They're really, really strong. Yeah. So this is lemon. If you were to smell this, smells like lemon sorbet or lemon sherbet. There's over 65 organic Sicilian lemons in this little bottle, and this bad boy, I think, is only $17 with your wholesale account. Beautifully cleansing and purifying is lemon, both internally for our bodies, but also we can use it as in our cleaning. So all the citrus oils are really uplifting. They're good for brightening the mood and making you feel happy. Lemon as well as wild orange. I've also got grapefruit, lime. They're all very uplifting oils. It's also very detoxifying for the liver and the gallbladder. So how many of you are doing the old lemon water thing in the morning? Lemons are an amazing fruit filled with vitamin C, and they're really detoxifying for our liver. Now, the bad thing about the lemon water craze is that it's very acidic on our teeth. So what's happening is, and dentists absolutely hate this, is people are drinking, their good old squeeze of lemon in the morning with their water, sipping that back. And then what's the first drink that most people then go drink after that? Coffee, which is full of tannins, or breakfast, or tea, which is fine, nothing wrong with that. I've got my coffee sitting around somewhere here, actually. A very weak single shot soy latte. Hardcore, I know. But if we drink lemon water in the morning, we open up all the pores in our teeth, then we go chug back a little coffee, tannins going straight into the teeth, causing staining. Then next thing, what happens is that people were, skipped breakfast, and then at 11 a.m. go, oh my gosh, I'm starving, I'm going to get a muffin. So now we're putting sugar back into our teeth and into all those open pores. Yeah, lemon and apple cider vinegar. So there's nothing wrong with those, but just know that they are opening up the pores of your teeth, and that you just want to give your mouth a really good rinse out with water after you've had them, and you don't want to be sipping them all day. So don't make up a bottle of water. You know, this is my one here, it's a 500 ml. Don't squeeze lemon in this and be sipping it all day, because you're basically opening up your teeth to decay for the entire day. So if you're going to have it, just have it in the morning, you know, like a kind of like a shot, almost, you know, a drink, and then be done with it. But the benefit of this lemon essential oil is that there's no acidity to it. So you can take a drop of this in your glass of water. So I do a drop it like this, or actually I use my trusty bottle. Here it comes. It's 500 mils. I'll do 2 drops in that and have that sitting on my desk and drink that all day long. And you're getting all of those liver and gallbladder detoxification benefits, but no acidity to the teeth. So it's also really easy. There's no waste, you know, in terms of chopping lemons, and you're getting the pure lemon essential oil into your body. Lemon is also really good. It's detoxifying for us, but it's also really good in terms of cleaning. So you can make up your own cleaning products in kind of spray bottles. I've got some bigger ones. Again, reuse what you've got. You could fill a big bottle up with water, a dash of white vinegar, 10 drops of lemon, and I would do 10 drops of this, the OnGuard. So lemon and OnGuard, and use that as your kitchen bench cleaning spray. And they've actually done studies on some bench sprays with OnGuard against a bleach-based spray, and the bacteria came back quicker on the bleach, with the big bleach-based spray, than it did with the OnGuard-based spray. And then the lemon obviously is very cleansing and has a really nice scent to it. Also, you can use lemon in your dishwasher. So when you're doing your dishes, put a couple of drops of lemon in your dishwasher. In your washing machine, put a couple of drops in the rinse aid section. You're washing. And if you do use the dryer over winter, we don't really use ours very much, but you can put a few drops of lemon on a little square of material, old square of material, and chuck it in your dryer with your clothing to just really help to cleanse it. Also, if you've got kids sick kids or really stinky sports gear, then a really great combo to use is lemon and tea tree. Putting that in the wash cycle, in the actual wash and or in the rinse aid section to really destroy any bugs and cleanse those clothes. And our very last oil that we're going to talk about today is frankincense. So we leave this guy till last because he is the king of the oils, King Frank. There is there. This is a very, very precious oil. If you did Bible studies back in the day, you probably remember this guy. He got taken along with myrrh and gold to baby Jesus. He is very hard to get. No, actually, hard to extract, and therefore ridiculously expensive, this one. So this one, if you buy it on its own, I generally don't recommend anyone buy it on its own because it's $120 retail. It's pure frankincense oil. It's much better to get it in the Home Essentials kit. It's much cheaper to do. But frankincense is our anti-inflammatory oil. So this is like the turmeric of the oils. If you're into turmeric, you're following that phase, that craze, and for good reason. It's good to consume anti-inflammatory foods, but frankincense is your anti-inflammatory oil. Frankincense, anti-inflammatory. We can use it topically. So again, we can make up a little roller ball. I actually purchased this one. It was a pre-made roller ball, so you can get all the rollers pre-made if you're lazy and you like the nice label, which I sort of do. Or you can make your own, easy as. The good thing about making your own is you can do blends, so you can mix things. So again, make yourself up a little frankincense roller ball, and you can use that as a beauty oil for aging. So it's anti-inflammatory, it's anti-aging to the skin. So it's a beautifying oil for the skin. Again, that's why we make up our skin blend oil with, I was saying, sort of around 10 to 12 drops of lavender, maybe 6 drops of the frank, and then if you get acne, putting a couple of drops of tea tree in there as well to help fight against any bacteria. It's also really great for scars, wounds, stretch marks, so any sort of skin conditioning where you've got inflammation, rashes, red skin, where you're wanting to reduce inflammation, rheumatoid arthritis, rubbing it around where the rheumatoid arthritis is, but it also is anti-inflammatory internally. And this is one that I get excited about because I love scientific research. I spent 4 years reading it in my degree. So there's a lot of scientific research come out in the last year or two on frankincense and its anti-inflammatory benefits internally. So if you want to Google, you can Google or go to PubMed. It's actually would be better, pubmed.com, PubMed. I can write that in the comments if you like. PubMed is a repository for peer-reviewed scientific research, and there's a lot of research in the last 2 years on frankincense, and it's being used for anti-inflammatory conditions. So Alzheimer's and dementia for our older population, you can reduce Alzheimer's and dementia, mental illness and depression, and then ADHD and autism. And the reason is that frankincense contains some compounds called sesquiterpenes that actually can cross the blood-brain barrier. So we've got a fluid that surrounds our brain and protects our brain from toxins, which is good because otherwise we would have a couple of wines and we would be gone. But our brain protects, this fluid protects the blood-brain barrier, protects our brain from these toxins. Now, there's a few compounds that can cross that barrier. Antidepressants are one. Frankincense is another. And so what that means is we can take this internally and we can inhale it aromatically, and we can actually reduce inflammation in the brain. So all of those conditions I mentioned, Alzheimer's, dementia, mental illness, depression, ADHD, autism, there is some sort of inflammation in the brain where the neurotransmitters are not firing quite correctly. So they're not passing the signals between each other correctly. They're either too slow or they're too fast. So in depression, they're too slow. In ADHD, they're too fast. So frankincense reduces inflammation in those conditions. So if you've got any of those conditions or family members with those, what you would do is you would take your frankincense with your thumb, take a drop, roof of your mouth. That's going to absorb in 2 minutes and be in my bloodstream and be having anti-inflammatory action in my brain, as well as anti-inflammatory action around the rest of the body. So I mentioned things like rheumatoid arthritis or any other inflammatory conditions, then frankincense is going to be a key one. So one of the ladies was mentioning thyroid disease previously, so I'd be using OnGuard to boost the immune system, but also frankincense is to reduce inflammation. Frankincense is also a really good one for anxiety and stress. So popping this one in a roller ball, rolling it around here, putting it in your diffuser, so 6 drops in your diffuser, and putting that on that 4-hour setting I was talking about. So again, 6 drops of frank in your diffuser, putting it on the longest setting possible, and then placing that by your bed and inhaling that overnight. If you suffer from any of like depression, anxiety, stress, you've got kids that have ADHD or autism or something on that spectrum, and then popping this by their bed and letting them inhale that overnight. And I actually love this because it's like a medicinal drip. You know, you've got this, you're sleeping, and you're inhaling that overnight and benefiting from all the therapeutic actions. It's also a really lovely oil for like meditation, yoga, because it's such a calming oil, and a great oil to blend. It kind of amplifies other oils. I really love lavender and frankincense together in the diffuser. 3 drops of lavender, 3 drops of frankincense, and then in a oil as well, both for the skin, but also one for stress and anxiety. So again, making up a little roller with, I'd probably go 10, 12 drops lavender and 8 to 10 drops of frankincense. And if you suffer from stress and anxiety, depression, low mood, just anxiousness during the day, I'm pretty sure that is most of us. Come 3, 4 p.m., when we look at the time, we realize how much work we haven't done that we need to get done by 5:30. Pretty sure most of us could use the old Frankie Lav combo in a rollerball. I certainly do. It is on high frequency in my diffuser in the afternoons. So that is, Leah, can Frankie help with chronic migraines? Yes. So it's going to reduce inflammation, and it's going to reduce inflammation. So I would be doing what I said. So taking a thumb drop like that, sorry, I can't talk when I'm doing that, on the roof of your mouth daily, a drop of that daily. I'd also be using an actual headache blend. So making up either just one with pure peppermint or doing a blend of peppermint, ice blue, and lavender. All have been shown to have benefits for headaches and migraines, and applying that topically when you actually start feeling it start. So that's our Frank. So that's pretty much it. That's the top 10 that I was going to cover today. I hope you guys have really enjoyed it. Now, I just wanted to let you know how you can get these oils. So as I was saying before, there's a few ways that you can get doTERRA oils, and I 100% hand on heart would recommend these over anything else. Even if you don't get them through me, get them through someone else. But please don't buy oils from the $2 shop or warehouse and be using them, because they actually can cause more harm than good. But how you can get these particular oils, so you can buy them retail in your local chemist, chiropractor, massage therapist. But the whole benefit of coming to one of my workshops, and you have effectively come to one of my workshops here, is that you get the opportunity to open up a wholesale account. And that's what I have personally. So I would love you to be able to get these oils at the same prices that I'm paying. So that's 25% off retail. And there's two ways you can do that. You can either pay $40 to open up a wholesale account, and then you get 25% off all retail, and you do that through me. I then become kind of your advisor on essential oils, which would be awesome. I'd love to be your advisor and health assistant, virtual naturopath, as it would be. So you can do it that way, $40 to open the account, and then you get wholesale pricing. It's totally up to you how much you want to use that. You could buy one oil a year, you could buy 100 oils a year. It's completely up to you. The other way, and arguably the smarter way to do it, is to buy one of their kits. The reason being is that they waive that $40 account fee, and also you get the oils massively discounted. So for the kit, which they call the Home Essentials, which is the one we talked about today, with their 10 most versatile oils, which are the ones that we sort of say these are the ones to have in your home as your medicinal, your medicine kit to start with these. But if you get the 10 oils plus the diffuser, if you were to buy those retail, it would cost $640. And who's got $640 right now? Doreen, can you recommend something that can deter mosquitoes from biting? Yes, totally missed that. So in your diffuser over summer, putting 3 to 4 drops of tea tree and 2 to 3 drops of your lavender with a cup of water, and have that going in your over summer to deter flies and also to deter mosquitoes. So if you're out having a barbecue, around 6 p.m. and the light's coming down, then put this on your picnic table, just get it on an extension cord, and you can have that going, and it will deter mosquitoes. Completely natural. It's like an all-natural raid. Those raid things that sit in the corner of the room, and they kind of go every 5 minutes. It's an absolutely natural way to do it. So tea tree and lavender, 2 of my favorite oils from this particular kit for mosquitoes and flies. They actually do another blend called Terra Amor. That one there. It's their outdoor blend. And that's kind of a bespoke blend specifically to deal with flies and mosquitoes. But as I was saying, there's a bunch of other oils you can get. This is just some of my collection. Oh, they look so pretty. And I've got a bunch more. But, I totally recommend just starting small and just starting with the 10 key oils to start with, getting really comfortable with those, getting confident with those, making sure you're using them, and getting my advice on them. I send you lots of documents to help you once you set up your account as well. And then, moving on from there. But yes, back to the kits. So if you were to get the 10 oils and the diffuser, it would be $640 retail. So please don't do that. That's ridiculous. If you buy it in a kit, it's only $365 NZ. So it's way, 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 way cheaper to buy the things in the kits. I generally say to people, try not to buy the oils individually if you can. Occasionally I have, like there's some of their oils they don't do in kits, but in general, trying to get them in kits because it's way cheaper and you don't have to pay the wholesale fee. And that's it. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you're interested in essential oils and want to learn more, and would be keen to get a couple of these oils in your own home and start using them in those ways, then leave me a message below, or send me an email. I'll pop my email in the comments below. It's buffy@begoodorganics.com. There it is in the comments. Send me a message with the particular oils that you're interested in. As I said, you can get them as the kit. So that's the 10 oils with the diffuser, and I love the diffuser. I have mine going pretty much all day long. Or if there were just a few different oils you think, yes, you know what, I have really bad headaches and I need that peppermint and the ice blue, then just start with one or two and just start playing with them at home and experiencing the benefits. And I guarantee you will feel relief and you will fall in love with them like I have, and want to use them more and more for yourself and for your family, and they're amazing. The other thing that I'll do is on my website, if you go to begoodorganics.com, and there's a heading called Essential Oils, and it says why I love them, and I'm actually going to paste the comments now. So this has just got some more information on if you know how to set up a wholesale account if you wanted to set up that wholesale account. And as I said, two options: you can either pay $40 and just get a couple oils, and then you've got wholesale membership for the entire year, which you can use 12 months, or you can buy a kit and then you get the oils greatly discounted and you avoid the $40 membership fee. So that's quite cool. That's what I did. I just got a kit to start and felt overwhelmed with 10 oils and what am I going to do with these? But then your knowledge quickly grows. Once you set up your account as well, you don't just get the oils, you get me as your support person and guidance. And I'm here on hand to answer any questions you have that you can email me. I'll also send you a whole lot of resources on how to use these oils. So if you didn't take copious notes during this call, which you should have, but if you didn't, no worries. You're probably eating your lunch at the same time, hopefully. Then I'll send you a document, a PDF. It's got over 100 uses for those 10 oils. It covers a lot of what we talked about. And then I'll send you, you also get to join, I've got a private Facebook group, which is just New Zealand based actually. But just for our sort of team, a private Facebook group where you can ask any questions specific to essential oils, and you'll get lots of feedback. So heaps of resources to make sure you are using them in the best way possible, and you have as much information and as knowledge as you want. And that's it. So just if you guys have got any questions now before we finish up the call, then just leave them in the comments and I'll answer any questions for a couple minutes. Kim, does it come with what you can use them for? Yes. So as I mentioned, I would send you that. So the kit comes on its own. I'd send you a document with over 100 uses for the oils. You get access to our private Facebook group, which is just for our little oil using loving team. And then you get access to me permanently in your living room virtually. The other thing is if you do set up an account, I forgot to mention, is that one thing I want to offer to you is a free 1-hour wellness consultation. So that's just a one-on-one free consultation. It's normally $105 if you come and see me in clinic for an hour. So that's free for you. We can do it in person here in Westmere if you're in Auckland. Otherwise, we can do it by Skype. And in that, we'll talk specifically about your health concerns and what essential oils are going to be most beneficial to you and how to use them. So that's a free 1-hour consultation from me to you if you decide to start on your essential oil journey with me. And that's because I want you to be as empowered as possible and have as much information as possible and know how to use these knowledgeably. So that's that. Thanks, Kim. Yeah, so nice to speak to you guys. If you've got any other questions, throw them up in the chat now. And if not, you can email me. My email's there in the chat, buffy@begoodorganics.com, or go to that link that I've posted in the comments. It's got a bit more information about essential oils, how you can set up your wholesale account. And yeah, I hope you come and join me and fall in love with essential oils as much as I have. They're amazing. They smell great. They make your house smell great. They make you smell great. But more important than that, they have the most amazing therapeutic benefits for your emotional health and for your physical health. So I hope you will join me and get on the essential oil wagon. It's amazing. I love them. Thanks so much for tuning in. Really lovely to talk to you, and I hope to hear from you all individually soon. Send me an email. Talk soon. Have an amazing rest of your day.